Game 5 in the books. What did we learn about these Knicks? Well, they're pretty resilient. They found a way to win at home at Madison Square Garden and force a Game 6 back in Indiana. And of course, that'll be a game that the Knicks have to win as they face elimination, and they'll try to force a Game 7 back at home. All right, what did the Pacers do wrong? Well, the Pacers, their problem was they didn't do anything that they typically do. Their advantages, their strengths, none of that really showed tonight in the Garden. And, credit to the Knicks, I think, for playing a very intense defensive effort throughout, basically the whole game. They really didn't let up. As I was watching the game, I was waiting for that moment for, the Pacers to really turn up, and it never really came, and because of that, I think that's why you see the Knicks get the win. Shooting-wise, the Knicks were better, at least from just overall shooting. From three, the Pacers were a little bit better. Free throws, the Pacers were better, but it really didn't make that much of a difference because the Knicks were able to win the glass battle, so they were on the +5 side of total rebounds. They were +3 on the offensive glass, and then they were able to move the ball a bit better, so you'll see the assist numbers are higher. I think most telling is the turnover margin. The Knicks had the advantage by 5, and what happens there is you get points off of turnovers. You get the fast break opportunities where you get those easy, buckets to the rim. I mean, the Knicks were living in the paint, and more specifically, I'll talk about Karl Anthony Towns and him kind of going into the paint and making an impact as a very aggressive, kind of looking to get his shots near the rim, not just parked outside the 3-point line and settling for threes. But the lead for the Knicks ballooned up to 22 points. And that's kind of what I was alluding to, is at some point you were expecting the Pacers to make a run, and they really never did. The Knicks were actually able to hold them off pretty good. The Knicks held the Pacers under 30 points every single quarter, thus holding them to under 100 points for the game. A final score of 111-94. This game was never really in doubt. Box score efforts, you're looking at Pascal Siakam for the Pacers, who was, has been an unsung hero for them. He's been really good. 15 points, right? So they basically kind of held him in check. Then the rest of the guys didn't do anything. Halliburton only 8 points, took 7 shots, had 6 assists. We're talking about a guy who had just a major triple-double in his last effort. He was just completely bottled up and contained. Nembhard 6, Turner 5, Nesmith 3, right? 1 for 8 shooting. He's been a difference maker for them in the playoffs, and he didn't have anything going tonight. I think outside of Obi Toppin and Benedict Mathurin, you didn't really get much off the bench. This game was controlled by the Knicks. They always seemed like they had control of the reins. Karl Anthony Towns, 24 points, 10 of 20 shooting. Didn't shoot great from outside, but was aggressive in the paint, basically living there. Had 13 rebounds, 2 offensive, 3 dimes. Did have 4 turnovers, but I mean, I would say he had a good game. Between him and Brunson, they really were fantastic. Brunson was pretty efficient for his standards. 12 of 18 shooting, 4 of 7 from 3. He had 5 assists, he had 5 rebounds. And I say only 3 turnovers because that's what it's come to in the league. If you don't turn over the ball 5 times, people seem to reward that. 12 points off the bench for Josh Hart. And OG had 11 points, and I think Bridges 12 points. While OG was not efficient, didn't shoot the ball very well, he was aggressive, got to the free throw line and made his free throws. All right, we got to start talking about Game 6 here. So this one's going to go back to Indiana, and that game is going to have some pretty crazy energy. And I think the Pacers understand they don't want to go back to New York for a game. And the Knicks know that they're fighting for their life, right? You lose, you go home. If the Knicks have a bad quarter in Indiana, I'm talking about where, they score 19 points or something, that's going to be really hard to overcome. The Knicks are going to have to play a clean game. It's the turnovers. The Pacers will get them, and then they'll turn up and they'll look to get those points in the fast break. The Knicks are going to have to contain it, right? They're going to have to be ready to get back on defense, slow down the Pacers, and prevent them from getting those easy buckets. And that's what they did tonight in this game. And then for the Pacers, they're just going to have to do better, to the things that they do. What I saw from the Pacers tonight, I saw settling, I saw one-on-one, the exact opposite of how they got to this point. And that is a credit to the Knicks for forcing them into that. The Pacers can't get away from who they are, which is ball movement, which is action, which is pace, the fast break, the turnovers turning into points. They have to get that. The Knicks have proven 2 times in this series that they're capable of beating the Pacers if the game is close. Well, one of the games, obviously they came back and won. This game, they had control the whole game. But I'm not sleeping on the Pacers. I'm going to pick Pacers for Game 6. I think they'll be able to get back to who they are and do the things that got them here. I would be surprised if the Pacers lost. It's not disrespect to the Knicks. I just think when the Pacers are doing what they want to do and what they're capable of doing, they're a better team than the Knicks. And I don't know if I'm going to get a huge game out of Karl Anthony Towns in Indiana. I'd love to be wrong. I don't mind. I don't care. I've been wrong a lot these playoffs. You know what I mean? So I didn't even have these two teams here. I had the Habs and the Celtics, right? So I don't mind being wrong. If I'm wrong and the Knicks win, man, that would make for a huge setup for Game 7. So the basketball gods, we would love a Game 7. So my heart is telling me root for the Knicks, but my mind is telling me go with what you believe to be the most likely or most probable outcome, and that's the Pacers doing what they're capable of doing and pulling out the win. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I think, obviously, I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I think it's going to be like upper 90s kind of game within a couple of possessions. But give me the Pacers. That game will be Saturday, I'm sure at some point in the evening. But we'll see what happens. What did you guys think of this game? What did you think of the outcome, and what do you got going on for Game 6? Who you picking? Who you taking? And how do you think that game will play out? Let me know. Drop me some comments. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out some more videos. We'll see you guys on the next one.